Standard 6th, Subject History, Chapter 5, Religious Trends in Ancient India. Dear students, in this chapter you shall learn about Jainism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism. So, towards the end of the Vedic period, the minute details of the yajna rites acquired undue importance. Means too much importance was given to the yajna rites. Only the priestly class had knowledge of those details. Others no longer had the freedom to gain that knowledge. The priestly class could only perform the rituals. The Varna system restrictions became very hard in the course of time. A person's social position was decided by the Varna into which he was born rather than by his achievements. So the position of a Shudra remained that of a Shudra. He could not achieve higher goals and could not have greater aspirations. That is why from the Upanishad period we see that attempts were made to give a wider scope to religious thought and not restrict it only to yajna rites. However, the thought in Upanishads focused on the existence and nature of the soul. It was difficult for ordinary people to understand it. This gave rise to different sects that emphasized the worship of particular deities. For example, the Shaiva sect of Shiva worshippers and the Vaishnava sect, the worshippers of Vishnu. Different Puranas were written with reference to these deities. So now people started worshipping different deities. Certain trains around the 6th century BCE made attempts to express religious thought in such a way that the common man would understand it easily. Many people realize that every person is free to find out his ways of upliftment. This led to the establishment of new religions, and these religions emphatically stated that discrimination on the basis of caste has no place in an individual's upliftment. So now religions started focusing on moral values rather than discriminating on the basis of caste system. The work of Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautama Buddha is of special importance among the proponents of new thoughts. So, Vardhaman Mahavir and Gautama Buddha stressed more on people's upliftment, how to live a good, chastised life. So, now we shall learn about the first religion that we come across is Jainism. Jainism is one of the ancient religions in India. This religion gives importance to the principle of non-violence. Okay, so violence is the most important principle in Jainism. According to the Jain tradition, a person who reveals religion's knowledge is known as a Tirthankar. So, non-violence is the value, that means no hurting anyone, no fights, peaceful life. And the person who reveals religious knowledge is known as a Tirthankar. There have been 24 Tirthankars in all. Vardhaman Mahavir is the 24th Tirthankar in the Jain religious tradition. Vardhaman Mahavir, that is from 599 BCE to 527 BCE. Let's learn more about Vardhaman Mahavir. There was a Mahajanapada known as Vriji in what is known as the state of Bihar today. Its capital was Vaishali. Vardhaman Mahavir was born in Kundagram, a part of Vaishali. His father's name was Siddharth and mother's Trishala. Vardhaman Mahavir left his home and all comforts for the attainment of knowledge. He attained enlightenment after 12 and a half years of rigorous tapa. This knowledge was pure or keval. Therefore, he is also known as Kevali. He was called Jina or conqueror because the joy derived from physical comforts and the discomfort felt due to undesired things had no impact whatsoever on him. The term Jain derives from the word Jina. Vardhaman is said to be Mahavir because he had the resilience, the courage to conquer all passions. What is resilience? The capacity to recover quickly from different difficulties or any kind of toughness. After the attainment of knowledge, he preached for about 30 years to explain the essence of religion to people. To make it easy for people to understand it, he spoke to them in Ardha Magdi, a people's language. The religion that he expounded laid stress on good conduct. The essence of his teachings for good conduct is contained in the five great vows. They are also called as the Pancha Mahavratas, and the three jewels, which are called as Tri-ratna. The assembly held by the Tirthankar to preach to people was known as Samavasaran in Ardhamagdi. Samavasaran was based on equality. People of all varnas had entry to it. So there was no discrimination based on caste. Let's learn more about the Pancha Mahavratas, that is the five great vows. These are the five rules to be followed strictly. First, Ahimsa means non-violence. No living being should be hurt, injured, or harmed through one's behavior. Second, Satya or truth. Every speech and action should be true. Third, Asteya, that means non stealing. Asteya means theft. Taking what belongs to others without their consent is theft or stealing. Asteya means not stealing anything. Fourth, Aparigraha, that means non attachment. Man tends to accumulate property due to greed. Aparigraha means not hoarding or accumulating anything in this way. And fifth is Brahmacharya, that is chastity. It means leaving bodily pleasures and following the vows. So these are the five great vows, also called the Pancha Mahavratas. Now let's learn about the Tri-ratna, that is the three jewels. The three jewels are the three principles. First, Samayak Darshan means right faith. Second, Samayak Jnana means right knowledge. And third, Samayak Charitra means right conduct. Samayak means balanced. Samayak Darshan, the first one, means to understand the truth in the preaching of the Tirthankar and to have faith in it. Samayak Jnana means studying the preaching and philosophy of the Tirthankar regularly and learning its deep meaning. And third, Samayak Charitra means strictly following the five great vows. Now let's learn about the essence of his teachings. Among the teachings of Mahavir, Anektavada is considered to be very important in the quest for truth. It means pluralism or multiple viewpoints. In a quest for truth, means in a search for truth, if we focus on only one or two aspects of or viewpoints and draw conclusions, the whole truth is not known. Therefore, it is necessary to pay attention to all aspects of an issue. If people follow this, they develop tolerance towards the opinions of other people in society and give up the attitude of stubborn adherence to their own opinions. So, Vardhaman Mahavir taught the people that the greatness of man does not depend on his varna, but on his excellent conduct. In the Vedic tradition, the doors of knowledge had slowly been closed to women, but Vardhaman Mahavir gave the rights of sannyas, the right to renounce the world, to women too. His teachings were love all living things, have mercy and compassion, and live and let live. So these were the teachings of Vardhaman Mahavir. Now let's learn about Buddhism. Buddhism spread in India and in many countries outside India. Gautam Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. So let's learn more about Gautam Buddha. Gautam Buddha was born 563 BCE and he lived up to 483 BCE. Gautam Buddha was born at Lumbini in Nepal. His father's name was Shuddhodana and mother's Maya Devi. His birth name was Siddharth. He had attained knowledge of human life in his entirety. That is why he came to be known as the Buddha. He wanted to know why there is sorrow and suffering in human life. He left his home and all comforts in pursuit of the answer to this question. On Vaishakha Purnima, he was sitting in deep meditation under a peepal tree at Uruvela near the city of Gaya in Bihar. That is when he attained Bodhi, enlightenment or the highest knowledge. The tree is known as the Bodhi tree, that means Bodhi Vriksha, and the place Uruvela is known as Bodh Gaya. He delivered his first sermon at Sarnath near Varanasi. His teachings in the first sermon are termed Dhamma. He set in motion the wheel of Dhamma in this sermon. Therefore, this event is called Dhamma Chakapavatan in Pali and Dharma Chakraparavartan in Sanskrit. Later, he travelled on foot, Charika, for nearly 45 years to preach Dhamma. He preached in the people's language Pali. In Buddhism, the concept of taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha is important. It is known as Trisharan. The essence of the Dhamma he expounded is as follows. Gautam Buddha taught Aryasatyas, which are also called as noble truths. There are four truths at the root of all human affairs. They are called noble truths or Aryasatyas. Let's learn about the four noble truths. First one, dukkha means suffering. There is suffering in human life. Second, the cause of dukkha means there is a cause of suffering. Third, dukkha nivaran means it is possible to end suffering. And fourth, pratipad. Pratipad means the way. This way leads to the end of suffering. This is the way of good conduct. It is known as the Ashtangik or Eightfold Path. Now let's learn about Panchasheel. Gautam Buddha asked people to follow 5 rules. The rules are called Panchasheel. First, stay away from killing animals. Second, stay away from stealing, so not to steal. Third, stay away from unethical conduct, means not to misbehave. Fourth, stay away from telling lies. And fifth, stay away from intoxicants, from all the addictions. So, these are the 5 rules taught by Gautam Buddha, which are also called as Panchasheel. Now, let's learn about Bauddha Sangha. He created a Sangha of bhikkhus to preach his religion. Followers who gave up their domestic life and entered the Sangha were called bhikkhus. They too travelled on foot like the Buddha to preach Dhamma to the people. There was a separate Sangha of women. They were called as bhikkhunis. People of all varnas and caste could embrace Buddhism. Now let's learn about essence of his teachings. Gautam Buddha announced the freedom of human intelligence. He refused to discriminate based on things like varna. No one is greater or smaller by birth. Greatness depends on one's behavior or conduct. One of his famous quotes is that even the little quail can chirp freely in a nest. This shows his thinking on the values of freedom and equality. He preached that like men, women too had the right to their own upliftment. He opposed the rituals of yajna. His teachings of wisdom means prajna, moral virtue means sheel, and other values are aimed at the welfare of man. Compassion means karuna for all living beings was an extraordinary feature of his personality. The tolerance preached by Gautam Buddha is a guiding principle not only for the Indian society but for all mankind even today. Now, let us learn about the Eightfold Path taught by Gautam Buddha. First, right view. The knowledge of the Four Noble Truths is right view. Right resolve means giving up cruelty, etc. Third, right speech means refrain, stop from telling lies, telling tales, rude, harsh, and meaningless speech. Fourth, right conduct means stay away from killing animals, stealing, and uncontrolled behavior. Fifth, right livelihood means using only the proper means of livelihood. Sixth, right effort means making effort to avoid wrong acts, giving up wrong acts, undertaking and maintaining good acts. Seventh, right mindfulness means being mindful to remove passions and concentrating on trying to understand one's own feeling and mind. And eighth, right concentration means experiencing deep meditation with concentration. So, this is the Eightfold Path preached by Gautam Buddha. Now, let's learn about Lokayat. The ancient trend of thought known as Lokayat or Charvak is also important. It emphasized independent thought and rejected the authority of the Vedas. In the ancient period, new religious trends and thoughts went on emerging in India. Later on, religions like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism also took root in the Indian society. So let's begin first with Judaism. People belonging to Jewish religion. So Judaism, Christianism, that is Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism also took root in Indian society. Regarding Judaism, people belonging to the Jewish religion may have arrived in Kochi in Kerala around the 1st to 3rd century of the Christian era. They believe that there is only one God. Judaism emphasizes justice, truth, peace, love, compassion, humility, charity, ethical speech, and self respect. Their prayer house is known as a synagogue, as you see in this picture. Next, let's learn about Christianity. Christianity is a religion founded by Jesus Christ. It has spread all over the world. Saint Thomas, one of the 12 disciples of Christ, came to Kerala in the 1st century of the Christian era. He established a church at Pallayur in Trichur district in 52 CE. According to the teaching of Christianity, there is only one God. He is the loving Father of all and is omnipotent. Omnipotent means having unlimited power. It is believed that Jesus Christ is the Son of God who came to the earth for the salvation of mankind. According to the teachings of Christianity, we are all brothers and sisters. We should love everyone, including our enemies. We should forgive those who err or go wrong, or means those who make mistakes, and those who go wrong, we should forgive them. The Bible is the holy book of Christianity, and their prayer house is known as a church. Now we shall learn about Islam. Islam is a monotheistic religion. Monotheistic means they worship only one God. There is only one Allah and Muhammad is his prophet. The message of God is revealed through him in the holy book of Quran Sharif. The word Islam means peace. It also means surrender to Allah. The teaching of Islam is that Allah is eternal, absolute, all powerful, and merciful. The purpose of human existence is to worship Allah. The Quran Sharif provides guidance on how man should behave in life. Since ancient times, there have been trade relations between India and Arabia. Arab traders used to visit the ports on the coast of Kerala. Islam spread in Arabia in the 7th century CE. Islam arrived in India in the same century through the Arab traders. The prayer house of Islam is known as a mosque or masjid. So, this is all about Islam. Now, last we shall learn about Zoroastrianism. Since ancient times, the Zoroastrian people and Vedic people have shared ties. The sacred text of the Parsi or Zoroastrian people is the Avesta. The language of the Rig Veda and Avesta is similar. The Parsis came to India from the Pars or Fars province of Iran. Therefore, they are known as Parsis. It is mostly believed that they first came to Gujarat in the 8th century CE. Zarathustra or Zoroaster was the founder of their religion. Ahur Mazda is the name of the god. The elements of fire and water are very important in their religion. The sacred fire burns in the temples which are known as agyaris. At the core of Parsi thinking are three main principles of conduct, namely good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. So, this is how this chapter tells us about different religions that came into being in India. With this, we have completed chapter number 5, Religious Trends in Ancient India. Hope you have understood this chapter. Do read it from your textbook for a better understanding. Stay safe, keep learning, and thank you.